Do you guys agree that we are all stars? Yes, you are one and I am one too. Now this one is about most expensive substance on earth. If you were stranded in the middle of an ocean, if you eat red grapes, do you turn red? Do you guys agree that we are all stars? Yes, you are one and I am one too. Now the main question here is why? We are all stars because we are made up of exploding stars. We humans are made up of stardust. Nearly all the elements in the human body were made in a star. And many have come through several supernovas. Now let us move on to number 19. Now this one is very interesting. Imagine you are an insect. Okay, I am an insect too. That means we are more cold tolerant. But why? During the fall, insects produce more glycerol, which gives their body super cooling ability. So this allows the bodily fluids to drop below freezing without causing ice damage. Now wouldn't it be cool if we behave like insects at times? At least in winters. Now moving on to number 18. Now this one is interesting. If you drink orange juice, does your color change to orange? Do you become orangish? On that note, if you eat tomatoes, or if you eat red grapes, do you turn red? Now what about eating too many carrots? Do you turn orange? Yes or no? Now eating too many carrots can actually turn your skin into orange. Color I meant. Now this is why this happens. Excess beta-carotene will enter your bloodstream and is stored underneath your skin, thus giving it orange, yellow or a golden people guys, golden age. Now this one is very important. This is about wasting food. You won't imagine how much food we waste every year guys. There should be no one hungry in this world because there is a lot of food out there which we waste. Well, not only food, we also waste time, money and talent guys. Don't we? So roughly 1/3 of the food that is produced and is intended for human consumption guys every single year. 1/3 of that food is actually wasted or lost. And do you guys know how much is it actually? 1.3 billion tons. That's a lot of food guys. And it is valued more than $1 trillion. Trillion dollars guys. And that food is enough to feed 3 billion people. The population of the world is approximately 8 billion. That means we can feed half of the world's population for free. Almost half of the world's population guys. Annual per capita waste per consumer is between 95 to 115 kgs a year for European and North Americans. And for South and Southeastern Asia, it is 6 to 11 kgs. Now the main important thing here is, in both the cases, a lot of food is wasted guys. Now let us move on to the next one. Now this one is more of a simple question. You either know it or you don't. What are bits of disintegrating icebergs known as? Bits of disintegrating icebergs. They are known as growlers or bergy bits. Now as a piece of iceberg melts, it produces a fizzing sound known as bergy seltzer. Now this sound results when the water-ice interface reaches the compressed air bubbles trapped into the ice. Now as this happens, each bubble bursts, making a popping sound. Now this one is more or less a direct question guys. Name one of the top paid workers in the US with a mean salary of approximately $250,000 a year. Anesthesiologists guys. And remember the doctorate degree guys. Now this one is about islands. It has been a long time that I have been to one. Now listen guys. Now on this island, sheep outnumber people. Name this island. Sheep outnumber people. 167:1. That is a lot. It's Falkland Islands. Now moving on to the next one. Now this one is about world's largest waterfall. Or I should say world's highest underwater waterfall. Do you know the name guys? Here water is falling almost 3,500 meters. Undersea waterfall. Now this lies beneath the Denmark Strait, which separates Iceland and Greenland. Now this one is about the difference in density guys. Hot water, cold water, remember? Let us move on to the next one. Now this one is about Russia. Siberia accounts for almost 77% of the land in Russia. But it is home to a small percentage of country's population. Can you guess the percentage of population? Remember 77% in terms of land. What percentage do you think in population? 23%. This is equivalent to an average population density of about 3 people per square kilometer. Let us move on to the next one, guys. Do you guys think there is a link between happiness and sunlight? Yes or no? Well, it is said that people feel more cheerful in summers. So you may actually feel more happier in summers. And one of the reasons is sunlight. And talking about happiness, I should let you guys know that there is a Dutch town which has no roads at all. The buildings are entirely connected by canals and footbridges. Now most of you can guess this one, I believe so. On any school day, how many children throughout the world head for class? Tell me the number, guys. Approximately 1 billion children. Now I guess that might change with online classing in coming years, but 1 billion children, guys. But here is the sad part of the story, guys. Children from rural areas are more than twice as likely to be out of primary schools as compared to their urban peers. That is the sad part, guys. In conflict zones, approximately 27 million children are out of school. Well, we hope one day everyone gets education for free. Now this one is about New York. How many languages are spoken in this city? Guess, guys. Give me a number. 800 languages, guys. And this makes it linguistically the most diverse world. 800 languages, guys. Now let us say you meet someone from New York. What is the probability that the person may speak a different language? There is a high probability that the person may speak a different language. Now 4 in 10 households speaks a language other than English. Now this one is more or less a question. The longest road in the world, guys. The Pan-American Highway network of roads, stretching across the American continents and measures approximately 30,000 kilometers, guys. 30,000 kilometers. A lot. It links almost all the Pacific coastal countries of Americas. Now let us move on to the next one. Now this one is an interesting one. Light takes approximately 8 minutes to go from sun to earth. Now here is an important question. How much time do you guys think that these photons take to move from the core of the sun to the surface of the sun? Core to surface. It should be very simple, guys. Guess an answer. How many minutes? It can take up to 40,000 years. And it is just hydrogen and helium. Now let us move on to the next one. Name the world's highest capital city. It is La Paz in Bolivia. And do you guys know that despite the lack of oxygen and other health risks, high altitude locations are home to approximately 140 million people. 140 million people around the world, guys. Now let us move on to the next one, guys. If we are talking about ripeness of peas, shall I pick up the peas which are on the shelf or the ones which are frozen? Answer. Now peas are frozen within 2.5 hours of harvest, which are always picked and flash frozen at the exact peak moment of ripeness. So if you bought a packet of frozen peas, guys, you guys are good. It's going to taste awesome when you defrost them. Now does this apply to most of the vegetables? Now this one is about apple. Now the company's first logo did not describe the physical shape of an apple. Now the first image to represent the company was... What was the first image? It was Isaac Newton. Remember the apple gravity thing? So it was Newton sitting under an apple tree. Now imagine you were stranded on a deserted island. Would that be okay? Or if you were stranded in the middle of an ocean? Both are equally bad, I believe. Now imagine you are at a place in an ocean which is farthest from the land. Here is one more hint. It lies in South Pacific Ocean. Now this area is so remote that any location is more than 400 kilometers from inhabited land. And sometimes the closest human beings are the astronauts about the International Space Station when it passes overhead. Imagine if someone is stuck in such a place. Horrible. Let me give you one more hint, guys. This area is known as spacecraft cemetery because hundreds of decommissioned satellites, they have been deposited there upon re-entering the atmosphere in order to decrease the risk it may pose if it goes into the people as compared to if it goes into an inhabited place. This is oceanic pole of inaccessibility. So Point Nemo is relatively lifeless. But let me tell you guys, you won't find the Nemo here. Nemo Point. No Nemo. Now this one is very interesting, guys. For whom were the heels actually made for? The first known pictorial evidence of high heels. It comes from 10th century Persia, where men wore them in combination with stirrups. For horse riding, guys, for horse riding. But what happened to this trend now? Now let's move on to the next one. Now this one is about the most expensive substance on Earth. What do you guys think is the most expensive substance on Earth? Is it gold, is it diamonds, or is it something else? It is antimatter. Let me tell you, it is 62.5 trillion per gram. We will be able to use antimatter as fuel for spacecrafts in future. Now antimatter is the matter which is composed of antiparticles, of the corresponding particles of ordinary matter. You know the tiny electrons, right? Now the opposite thing is anti-electron or a positron. Now this is the antiparticle or antimatter counterpart of electron. The antiproton is the antiparticle of the proton. Taking an example of 1 milligram of positrons, it costs about 25 million. 25 million, guys. And that finishes up these 20 facts. Please let me know how many questions did you answer correctly. Please make sure to subscribe, like and share, and see you guys next time.
I don't need a Harvard degree. Everything else in your life sees
You're gonna take a bullet for you. A real friend's gonna help you get.
You see a stranger, he's not like you don't really need school for. And understanding our differences.